Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Think Different podcast. And we're back for another amazing video. Let's see what we can do with our desktop that would be very useful going forward with everything. So, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks I like to use in Finder, which make it really easy. Desktop is definitely considered Finder, and that's my cat in the background interrupting this podcast episode. So, that's wonderful for her to be joining us. So, let's look at this right now. So, this is a typical desktop. Everyone's got. Oh, NBC ring, yes. Everyone has these files, folders all over the desktop. And one of the big things about Big Sur is in fact, in a couple operating systems before this, they introduced something called stacks, which I really, really like. So when I just press down on the right click, so on a trackpad, it would be 2-finger click if you set that up, or if you're old school, you have the right click set up. You're going to see an option here called Use Stacks. When I click that, you will see this. It now organized it based on the type of file that it is. So it goes images. It's maybe a PDF, which I only had one on the desktop. One music file. Movies, I had 2 of them. I have 5 screenshots. And as I click them, they open up and they show me what's in them. So if you kind of like the messy desktop, but you want to be able to organize a little bit more, Stacks is great, and you can uncheck that and go back to where you were. So all you got to do is do the secondary or right click anywhere and you can do that. You also can group stacks by a certain thing. So right now they're organized by what type of file they are, but let's say it's last added. So now it's the last previous 7 days, the last 30 days, 2020, 2018. So you can organize it that way. You can organize it by date created. So you have a lot of options here. In fact, I just realized I kind of like the date added. That way I know what's recently happening, what's not. So I think that's very valuable for me. Also, you can show view options as well. Now, this is a way to how you want your desktop to be seen. So again, you could do the stacks in here as well. You can go by kind. You could sort by the date created. You have a whole bunch of different options on how you want to organize it. This one's really nice. Icon size. If you're very good at very, very, very good eyes or very, very bad eyes, up to you. You can switch the icon size around. You can also change the spacing around if you want to space it out a little more. Very, very small little thing, but it could be a big thing for some people. Text size. I love this. If you want your font to be really small or your font to be really big, you can label the position. Where do you want it? Do you want it on the right side or on the bottom? I prefer the bottom. You can show the item info. Now, this is really great because normally you would likely not see anything, but I like the item info. It tells me what's left on my hard drive. This is how desktop is set up. So again, to get back to this, you will go to show view options, or if you go to view, you could do it here as well. It's actually Command J would be your shortcut to get to it. So again, everything you're doing in desktop would be everything here inside of this menu bar. If I do the same thing again, I can go and do import from iPhone and iPad. This is a new feature. So you could take a photo, scan documents right from your phone, which would be very valuable. I'm not going to show that here, but just follow along with it. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a file, right-click on it, and there is going to be an option called Get Info, or my favorite, Command and I, and it opens up a detailed view of this file. One of the things I like is the lock feature. Lock means that no one can do anything to this file once it's locked. And it's very valuable for me if you don't want to accidentally delete something. So if there's something very, very important and you don't want it to be accidentally deleted by that, you can do this. You can also get a lot of information about the file. Now in this case, it's a picture. So because it's a picture, it gives me the dimensions, the color space. You can even rename it here. It also tells you open with, and it tells you right now that this is going to open with the preview app. But of course, there are many options. Now, one of my favorite things to do is if there's a file that you download, but you want it to open up something specifically, you change it to this. But Change All now has lit up. What's valuable with that is if I click this, every JPEG file would open up with Google Chrome going forward. Because right now, the way this is set up, it's only going to open with this one app. But if I do Change All, it's going to open up with anything that's a JPEG. Now, this is great if you're downloading a file that maybe the computer doesn't recognize, and maybe you download this file a couple different times, and you'll be able to do that here. It's very valuable. All right, now I'm going to show you something really neat. So I can't do this on the desktop only because I believe iCloud will stop me from doing this. So I'm going to go to Finder, and I'm going to go to Movies. And in here, I want to create a folder. So I'm going to right click, and there should be an option with a folder. Unfortunately, I clicked an icon, so let's try this again. I'm just going to do Command Shift N. That is your quick tool to do that. So I'm going to call it Test. I'm now going to do Command I, or Get Info again. And then I'm going to click the lock. I have to allow sharing permissions in order to be, it has to be unlocked. So we have no choice to do that. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to say that as my privilege of myself, I want it to be a write-only scenario. Now, when you do that, you can see the icon kind of changed a little bit. Why is that? Well, write-only means that you only want items to go in there, and that's it. So let's say I'm going to take this drone footage I shot. I'm going to put it in there. And let's say I take the terror windows, I throw it in there. It says you can put items in the test, but you won't be able to see them. Do you want to continue? Well, why is this important? I think this is important because this is a good way to hide files. I think if there's files that you don't want people to see and don't have access to, because now if I close this and I double click it, it won't let me in. You need permission to get into this. So I, as the user, don't have permission. So I have to allow this again. So let me go to and put my password in. And then I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to say read and write. And now I can go into it. So it's really interesting because you can hide files that you don't want people to see. And I think that the Dropbox feature is such a hidden feature in Finder that not a lot of people know about. So that's why the Get Info Pane is really important. In fact, there's more I could go into with that, but that would be a real advanced video for people. So that's the desktop a little bit. You could change the background picture, and then you could choose something that you want to fill it up with. So you could choose stuff from your Photos app. You could choose like regular desktop pictures. It's really up to you. So if you want to change it around, really, really simple. And then of course we have light and dark desktop, so it'll change. And then dynamic will also change. These are the new features built into Big Sur right here, the dynamic desktop. Or you can just go with the straight logo here. And then that's really it. And then, of course, you have new folder, which I showed you. So this is just using the desktop. I wanted to make a real quick video. And by the way, everything on here is connected to iCloud, which means if I go on to iCloud.com, I will be able to see this, as well as the Files app on my iPad and iPhone. So everything that's on my desktop is going to be available in iCloud. And, of course, you need the storage room to do that. And I would strongly recommend that you do it. Thank you, guys. I hope this is a quick video on using your desktop, specifically in Finder. Take care.